Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. In this video I'm gonna make a Commodore 64 test computer, and I have been having the need for one at many occasions, so I thought it was about time. And what do I mean with a Commodore test machine? Well, it's like you've probably seen Adrian in Adrian's digital basement. He has this Commodore 64 machine where he has SIF sockets in it on the motherboard, so he can easily swap chips in and out to test them. But first I have to find a suitable machine to use for that purpose. By the way, if you're wondering about my Windows background here, it's the Northern Lights, and now in January this is how our evenings often are. This picture is taken not by me, but it's not far from here. Obviously it's a photo, so it's boosted up a little bit. It isn't quite that bright in reality, but it can be very beautiful. So what Commodore 64 am I gonna use? I go through my stash here. I have several different machines and cases, so I just need to find something that I think works. Let me just make a quick stop here to thank my sponsor PCBWay. PCBWay produces PCBs, but they also do a lot of other cool services. They have supported this channel for several years, and without them I don't know if I could have a YouTube channel at all. Recently I got a bunch of PCBs from them. As you can see, very nice quality, and just $10 US for 10 PCBs. Besides getting an instant quote for PCBs, they also do services like 3D printing, CNC machining and PCB assembly. Also check out their PCBWay mascot design contest for 3D printing if you want to participate and win some prizes. PCBWay takes care of all your hobbyist needs, so go ahead and visit PCBWay.com right now. I decided to make this video because it should be quite quick, and I need it to be quick because in 2 weeks I'm flying down to Hong Kong again to meet my fiancée again, so I need to be finished in good time before that. But I think I'm gonna go with this. I want it to be a Commodore 64C type of case. Yeah, I think this case looks alright. It's very dirty. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use this keyboard, but we'll see. I'm obviously gonna paint the case so that it stands out from the rest of the machines. You've probably already seen my golden Commodore 64, and this is the machine I made myself from a replica motherboard a couple of years ago. This is my favorite Commodore 64 so far, and I did a paint job myself and it turned out to be pretty good. And I also have a similar machine in silver, so I think maybe I'll paint this in what should it be, black or blue? I'm not really sure. I need to go to the color shop and see what they have. This machine should be working. I need a working motherboard. Let's see now. Yeah, but it has an issue with the keyboard, and I'm not really sure. Yeah, you can see the issue obviously. Yeah, the minus key is constantly down. If I pull it out, then it works. So that's probably just a simple fix if I'm going to use that keyboard, but it's not the fault on the motherboard at least. It's not that important that all the major chips are working, because I'm gonna put them in sockets anyway, but I need a RAM to be working. Hopefully I'm not gonna put the RAM in sockets, I don't think. Maybe I should, but I don't think there's room. Let's run this test switch, see if the RAM is okay. I just need some Commodore stuff to be done now while waiting for the Commodore 64 Ultimate Founders Edition. All the 3 ROMs are green, so they're okay. It went so quick. I saw something failed, some message, but this one takes a while to run through because it's doing a complete test and a very thorough test of the full 64K of memory. We can see the CIA chips timers, they're okay, they're both the same. Yeah, I really like this cartridge, test cartridge. It's made by Matthew. You can go to factorofmath.com if you want one, or if you want to build one yourself. I built this myself in another video a while back. The original diagnostics cartridge, it doesn't test the full RAM, it's only testing like 4K or something, I think. But as you can see, this does a full memory test, and that takes a while, and we only see green numbers, and that's good. So have you ordered the Commodore 64 Ultimate already, or are you gonna skip it? Tell me in the comments. Yeah, that looks perfectly alright. So now it restarts. The RAM is good and no other issues found. I just want to check that all the various ports and stuff is working also. Hook up the diagnostics harness. This uses the original diagnostics cartridge from Commodore. And these tests will also reveal if there's something bad with the CIAs, the I/O chips. Let's run it. So, did you already get a Commodore 64 Ultimate? And if you did, are you happy with it or not? Yeah, it says keyboard bad. The sound. The SID chip is good, at least somewhat. Yeah, the SID sounds alright, but you really need to play some real SID tunes to reveal if it's completely working. I'm gonna just hold up that minus key to see if that fixes the keyboard fail. Now, still says bad, but I'm pretty sure there's just some other issue with the keyboard then. It's not the C64C, I think. I think it's one of the early longboard machines that came with this type of case. It doesn't have the screws, and the warranty seal is still intact. Should I break the seal or not? Yeah, I have to if I'm gonna open the machine, which I'm gonna do now. But I'm not gonna destroy it. I want to keep it intact. You see, there's the original seal under a German guarantee Siegel. I'm just gonna use some hot air to remove it without damaging it. Not too hot, obviously. That will melt it or destroy it or melt the plastic. I don't want that. See if I can peel this off now gently. It's not easy. The original warranty seal is already broken underneath there. Peel it off intact. Yeah, which I didn't. Yeah, I don't need that. Maybe it was originally repaired by some Commodore service facility in Germany back in the day, and they had another guarantee Siegel. Yeah, as you can see, it's quite different color. I'm not sure if that's because of yellowing or dirt. I can try and clean, see if it's dirt. It's obviously dirty as hell. Yeah, it got better, but obviously a little bit yellowing. But that doesn't matter, it's gonna be painted anyway. But at least now I can open it. You just pull these tabs and put the case edge a little bit down, and then it's loose. Obviously, you know my favorite computer is the Commodore 64. But I'm curious about my viewers. What's your favorite computer from back in the day? Oh. And then we have the keyboard, which is also just placed with some tabs, but that makes it easy to remove. And we can see the dust bunnies. Oh, there's dust everywhere. And we have this filthy RF shield. has already been ripped apart, so someone has been here before, and yes, in fact that is a Commodore 64C. It's a 250-469, which has the combined PLA chip, which is the PLA chip with some other chips within it, and that was not what I wanted, because it also has this combined ROM, which I think was the basic and kernel ROM put into one chip, and it only has 2 memory chips. Those are in socket. I've never seen these kind of sockets before. This is the CPU. This is 8565R2 WIC 2 chip. There's one CIA chip there and one there in socket, and then we have the 8580R5 SID chip. So the reason I thought this was the longboard variant was that it didn't say Commodore 64C on the back, which it usually does, but it always depends on where it was produced. Well, that was a little bummer. I want a longboard variant, but I'm gonna clean this up, clean up the case and everything, and make the keyboard work, and then I'm gonna see if I find another motherboard I can put into this as a test board, because there are screw holes for the longboard or the wide boards. I always wonder why they call it the long board and short board, because they're both the same length, but the width is different. If you see it like that. Yeah, those 2 sockets, that seems we have had some rework on this machine. I'm just gonna throw away this filthy paper shield here. It doesn't serve any purpose anymore. That's so good, with all the major dust gone. I took it down to the garage and I used my power compressed air. But it's still a little bit dirty. You know, I'm allergic to dust, and just opening this machine was enough. I start itching, my eyes start drying out, my lips and hands start drying out. But as soon as I remove the major dust, I'm fine. Just gonna do a little bit of simple cleaning here first. So you might be wondering why I'm not just installing SIF socket and making this board for my test board. Well, it's simply because it has fewer chips. For example, this one is a big, I don't know, 50-60 pin chip, and it has another pitch. You can't find a SIF socket for this, I think. And it doesn't have a PLA chip and some of the other logic chips, and it only has 2 ROMs. So that's not what I want. I want to be able to test as many chips as possible using the old Commodore boards. And I think these Commodore C's, they're much more reliable anyway. I think I only once has replaced one of these super PLAs. A simple trick, somehow just a simple rubber like this, which is a child's rubber for school, does an amazing job at cleaning these edge connectors and make them shiny again. Yeah, looking very nice. They were quite black before. These are a little bit more worn on this side. Yeah, now this board looks like new. Use a little bit contact cleaner in the various sockets. Alright, so next I'm just gonna fix up this keyboard quickly, and since the I key doesn't want to pop up, I guess the spring is missing. Come on, I need a tool. Yeah, there's no spring. I blew away the dust, but it's still dirty underneath all the keycaps, and I'm also gonna clean them up, but they're very dirty. So I'm just gonna take them all off. You see all the grime down here. And sometimes the springs are rusted, so I need to check that out. Yummy. I never use gloves, by the way. I don't think I can use gloves. I'm gonna be sweaty, and I don't get the feel for it. Notice there was a spring missing on another key, so that's probably why the keyboard tests failed. So this keyboard is probably working just fine then. Depending on how it works when I test it, I might need to take off the backplate and clean underneath it, but hopefully I don't have to do that. Now the keys goes into some hot soapy water. What's this? It's the next day. I'm waiting for the case parts to dry after cleaning, and during that time I have realized I think I have made a mistake, because the Commodore 64C, it is very low, and when you put like thick SIF sockets on the motherboard, then it might be a problem with height, and I might not be able to close the machine. So I have decided to use this one instead. Well, that's a little bit of change, but this is also a nice machine. It has been cleaned, recapped. I fixed the back hinges. I have fixed the keyboard, and it says CIA2 is bad, and that's 1 year ago. So here's no need for any cleaning or anything. Well, I started off with another machine. It's not for nothing. At least I got to do a little bit of restoration on that as well. And here it is, all cleaned up, and the case came out really nice. There was a little bit of rust on the keyboard springs, so I have them lying now for some treatment. Maybe you saw the video where I repaired this. Yeah, and it has none of its chips in socket. Well, some of the chips are in socket, but that doesn't matter. We need to desolder them all anyway. And here's my repaired back hinges or clips. Yeah, this should be a very nice machine with new caps and stuff. I think that's a better candidate. It's also a 254-25 board. Guess I'm just gonna do a brief test to see if this machine is working. You never know. Yeah, looks good. Keyboard is nice. Yeah, so I'm gonna remove the case and make it ready for painting. I'm gonna paint this. Try not to drag this out too much. Before painting, I need to remove the badges. It's impossible to mask this off and get it nice anyway. Also this label back here. Yeah, I'm gonna apply a little bit of hot air just to loosen the glue on the badges. Of course I need to remove the LED first. Yeah, that came loose quite quickly. So this is quite a long aluminium badge, so try not to bend it, because then it's very hard to get it to look nice again. Yeah, this was worse. I don't know what kind of glue they use, but very difficult to get off. Yeah, got it off somewhat successful. I don't know. It's a lot of leftover hard glue. So I removed the old glue. It was quite sticky. I had to use some WD-40. That loosens it up, but that's also some fatty chemicals. So I'm gonna clean both the case parts in some soapy water before a little bit of priming. Yeah, I'm at the paint shop. Which color should I choose? This one? Yeah, that's black matte. Black matte spray paint. And we also need some primer. This is plastic primer. Seems to be made for a Volvo 850 or something like that, but I guess it could work on a Commodore 64 as well. I almost forgot to take off those rubber feet, but I remembered it. There's a little bit of glue left behind, I think. Try to clean that off. So now I'm gonna prime the case first. It might not be necessary. I have done paint jobs before without priming and it worked totally fine, but yeah, I'm gonna do it that way. However, that needs to be done outside. I cannot do that inside my house. And it's dark now in the evening, so I don't know if I can film it, but we'll see. It's also -4 degrees, and that's outside the spec of this paint. Yeah, here's the setup. It's a little bit too dark, but yeah, I'll try. Doesn't have any color. That was the primer applied. It smells very strong. I don't think I can bring this in my house. Not yet. In the meantime, while waiting for the paint to dry, which is not fun, I'm gonna start working on the motherboard itself. And for that I needed some SIF sockets, which I got a bunch of here. And this is just a few of them. In fact, I got the whole box of various sizes, and they're pretty cheap still. All those cost over 60 euros, I think. I don't know if it's good quality or not. It was AliExpress, and at the same time I got some other stuff. UV resin, I just want to show you. So this is no mixing, fast curing, and to cure it you need a UV light. So I got a UV curing light. Some cables and stuff, that's not that interesting. So now comes the boring job here, and that is to desolder all the chips that are not socketed. I'm gonna start with the big ones here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna complete all these smaller ones. I need to check if those sockets even fit. I mean, side by side. Remove this heatsink. And this is a big desoldering job, so I need to clean out my desoldering gun first. Desoldering that many chips is not as easy as it might seem, even with the desoldering gun. They can be very stuck, and you can of course risk ripping traces or damaging vias and through holes, but I'll take it slowly one by one. Obviously I'm not going to show you the whole desoldering process. That's going to take a couple of hours at least, and it's quite boring. I start with removing this heat shield, or what you call it. I might need to go over 400. Add a little bit of fresh solder first. Just try to push it through. Yeah, it's loose, all right. Just remove this old gunk. I don't think it's old. I think it's something I applied when I fixed this up 1 year ago. I'm pretty sure that VIC-2 chip was in a socket from factory, so it might be just as hard to remove. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit of solder first. In my experience, sockets can actually be more trickier to desolder than chips, but we'll see how it goes. That's the first pass. It's hard to tell if it went well or not. That desoldering station is not very good, but yeah, it's better than nothing. I don't think I want to spend like 300 euros on a better one. I had it for many years. Well, let's see now. Nope. It's not loose. Yeah, some parts are loose. So I go another pass. One side is loose, but the other side not so much. There's always a little leftover solder in the holes. No, I don't want to use too much mechanical stress because You just rip traces then and you might damage the vias, I mean the through holes. So I'm gonna go with some hot air. Yeah, it came loose, but I left a couple of pins. Yeah, this one's loose. One there. Yeah, no damage was done. But it took like 15 minutes just for this one socket. And if I'm gonna remove 10, you do the maths. Alright, so this is a 40-pin chip and immediately I see a problem. These sockets are very long and of course we have some capacitors in the way. I could of course just bend them down like that. Hard to fit. Yeah, I can't get it to fit into the holes. The pins are slightly bent and yeah, kind of hard to place. I'll just try now on the back side first. It's easier. But I mean, it's the correct kind. But these pins are quite thick, so I might have to clean out the holes a little bit better. Yeah, this seems to be taking a little bit longer time than I anticipated. I don't know. And if also the length of the sockets is a problem. Yeah. Then maybe this project will be a disaster. Just check that all the through holes are open. Yeah, I found one hole that was a little bit narrow. Couldn't get this poking tool through it. No, I simply cannot get it through. See the pins there they are very thick. I mean, they're wide. Yes, I already sprayed some black here. I think I need 2 layers. So while I'm waiting for the paint to dry, I'm gonna rebuild. I already started rebuilding the keyboard for the other machine. Well, I finally managed to squeeze it down. Obviously the caps are in the way, but the pins they reach, I can solder it in. I think over on this side here I might need to remove some capacitors and maybe solder them in on the back side in order to get this down through the holes. And I actually used the little Dremel tool I have and filed off the edges of the pins. So now I think I used 1 hour just for one chip. Anyway, I'm gonna solder this in and then I'll do the rest, maybe not all in this video, and then I'll be back. Yeah, I'm back already. Obviously I want to test each SIF socket I solder in separately, just so I don't end up in a mess where I don't know what kind of fault I have if something goes wrong. So obviously without the VIC2 it is not gonna work. Insert the VIC2. See if these sockets are any good. I mean, it's cheap AliExpress. Oh no, it doesn't work. See those pins? Yeah, I heard they can be a little bit difficult, these sockets, and might not give a good contact. That's not very promising. Did I break anything else while doing this? Let's check with a couple of test cartridges. Yeah, it's the wick is obviously working, but something else broke. Well, that can happen, of course. So I really need to figure out that before I continue. I mean, without the wick too, you wouldn't get any video. What's broken? Let's try the test. Yeah, that's how it is. Things never go as planned. 3. So that indicates RAM fault. Maybe some RAM went bust while I was soldering and working on this. You never know, could be anything, static electricity. But the dead test should reveal that. Failed testing 0 page, yeah, it says bit 5. Alright, well, we got the RAM fault while working. Obviously it could be related to the wick chip, I don't know, there's a black bar there on the address bus. If the wick 2 is not correctly seated, then I don't think it would show anything at all. Obviously the wick 2 chip can affect both the data bus and the address bus. I'm just gonna spray some contact cleaner and also on the chip. Just use this fiberglass brush and clean the pins. Yeah, now it shows more errors and bit 7, so yeah, I think there's bad contact. Is that really the case? Are these SIF sockets really that bad? No, we have 2 bits. Or is it a RAM fault? I mean, it looks like it's gripping nicely. Is the whole thing a little bit shifted, preventing a good grip? If I push it to the left. Yeah, I don't know. I took off the top of the SIF socket just to see. You can't really close it while it's off because then this will just jump out. But yeah, I don't know. I find it kind of strange that the memory chip just blew, but it is plausible. It has to blow someday. Or maybe not. Now I assemble it again, install the chip, and the thing is working. No errors. So yeah, either that's a real RAM fault, but it's intermittent, or the socket is really bad. Well, when I think about it, when you see the last clamps here, they really don't move. And I saw on the one I had open that it was hard to get them inside the holes, so I needed to manipulate and really struggled to get the 2 last ones into the holes because they were too wide. But now that seems to be fixed, and I can take the chip out, just randomly install it, and it works. Yeah, so maybe it's a bad assembly of these SIF sockets. They're not really working from factory, but after I opened it, it actually starts working. Hopefully. Anyway, I was planning on installing some more, so that's what I'm gonna do, but I'm not gonna bore you with that. I'm gonna come back after that. Oh no, that broke my dream about a test Commodore 64. They are simply too wide. If I place the pin exactly where the pins are on the original chips, yeah, there's at least 2 millimeters. They are 2 millimeters too wide, or 1 millimeter each. I could of course try to shave off, but I don't think that's gonna be easy, you know. There's not only plastic, it's a metal part inside. Of course you can file that down too, but that's gonna be a lot of work. So I'm gonna leave the CIA chips. I'm gonna install one for the SID chip and the PLA chip, or was it vice versa? And maybe I could squeeze one in for the CPU. I could of course try to find some that are not that wide on some more professional electronic shop other than AliExpress, but that would take time, and then I won't be finished with this video in time. How about the RAM? They're quite big too, but yeah, do they fit? Yeah, they actually fit. I don't know if you can see it, but Yeah, there's even a little bit of space between. And then I need to have them separate ways and make sure that the notch is up. Alright, this is how far I took it in this video. I'm gonna check if I can find some smaller SIF sockets. These all fit nicely, but I did a couple of other modifications. As, when I am working on a machine or testing, I'm not always sure if the machine is on or off, so I added this little LED there. It doesn't interfere with the contact. And something else, I added this, a voltmeter, and it sits on the 5 volts rail from the power supply, so this can be handy to test if the voltage is okay. It also has amp meter, but I'm not gonna hook that up, no need for that. And it doesn't use any power. I measured it on my bench power supply, I think it was like 10 milliamps. It's meant for installing in some kind of box or cabinet. I'm just gonna glue it down there. If it fits, I'm gonna check with the keyboard. For the RAM, I only installed one SIF socket. That's really what I need, because it's meant for testing other chips or using these chips to test in other machines. And for the RAM, it's enough with one. Then I can swap out RAM chips from other machines into this and test them. Quick and easy. And it still works. I was thinking about some other cool modifications to do to this machine. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, then just give me in the comments. Then what about the case? How did it turn out? Well, take a look. I think it turned out very nice. Yeah. Matte black. It's a little bit shiny, but yeah. Looks like the Commodore 64, the original case, but only that it's in black. Yeah, not perfect paint job. I can see a little bit through here. I might just go over it later. Yeah, looks really nice, I think. What do you think? And I installed the feet, and yeah, looks very nice with black feet, black on black. Yeah, I just I didn't paint it inside, just the spray that got around there. I also made another little modification. I made an internal reset switch. If I need to reset the machine, just push that button. And that was very easy. I simply just soldered in this push button here, between that capacitor there and that resistor, that's R50 and C34. Right in between there you can reset the machine. There's obviously many other places you can issue a reset. The voltmeter, it fits just fine inside. I just glued it to the board with some hot glue. Doesn't look too bad. So is it accurate? Let's check actually voltage. I'm going to check from ground to one of the chips. 4799, yeah, that's dead on, correct. 4.8. Yes, my test machine is finished for now. I'm gonna do more with this as time goes by. How about the other machine I started off with? Well, I cleaned it up and it looks nice now. Just gonna see if it actually works still. This one, I don't know what to do with it. I think I just want to sell it. Yeah, it cleaned up nicely and the keyboard works perfect, so nothing wrong with this machine. Only issue, I was a little bit too hard on the badge here when I cleaned it, and yeah, I rubbed away a little bit of the color with some Windows cleaner and nothing else. But I have new badges. Just a final little touch before I conclude this machine. I printed some Commodore font letters, 3D printed in plastic. Yeah, it's a test machine, of course. I just glued them on there. Looks kind of nice. Alright then, this video is finished. I'm sorry it wasn't more technical or detailed than what it was, but yeah, this was all I had time for this time, and I still hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making this machine, so that was quite fun. Just want to say thanks for watching, and thanks for all the subscriptions and likes, and a special thanks to my Patreons. If you want to support this channel, you could also be a Patreon member, and when you're a Patreon member, you get to see my videos ad-free and earlier than the rest. See you, bye bye!